reminds me of, do you remember back then, my dad used to call hotels and taxis in order for us to travel, but not anymore. Technology, guys, we have technology. Combine that with travel and you have a massive super app by the name of TRAVELOKA. But I think you guys are familiar with this name before, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yes. And that's the fun thing, and that's the easy thing right now, is that everything is at your fingertips, and hence why we have a special person that we brought down for you guys to talk about the new frontier of travel. May us present to you Miss Angelica Chan, the country manager of TRAVELOKA Malaysia. Hey, Angelica, how are you doing?
Good, thank you.
All right, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for inviting.
Yeah. Nabil, I'll let you kick things off.
Yes. How do we solve world hunger, Angelica? No, I'm kidding. Obviously. Why don't you talk through to us about TRAVELOKA a bit?
Oh, okay, fine. Sure. So TRAVELOKA started 10 years ago in Indonesia, and we started off as a meta search engine, right? So meaning consumers are able to search a variety of airlines and as well as the prices of the airlines in one platform. Now we have mark our presence in 6 countries, right? In Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore, Vietnam, and Philippines.
All right, and yeah, when you talk about TRAVELOKA, obviously it is a powerful app that is out there where it makes life so much easier whenever people want to, check out the best deals and whatnot. And in comparison of how it was before, I mean, like, as what Nabi was telling us just now, the hassle and the troublesome of doing their own research yourself, that definitely, the evolution of that has definitely benefited the public in more ways than one, right?
Correct. Yeah. So, I think this is very much seen during the pandemic, right, where technology was really used during the pandemic, and everyone was just able to deliver everything to their house or to their doorstep just at a click at the button, right, of a button, and it's just there on your doorstep. So technology really has moved, right, rapidly, right, compared to pre-pandemic and to now the endemic phase. So a lot more of our customers and consumers are using technology to actually make bookings or travel bookings, right? So it has shifted, as you mentioned earlier, right? No longer, we go to the hotels and make bookings, and
call taxis,
and call taxis and so forth. Correct, right? It's hassle. So we made it easier for the consumers, the demand. So it's demand and supply again, right? Consumers then wanted to have that flexibility of making bookings, and TRAVELOKA support in terms of technology, where consumers then can make bookings for their flights, and then the hotels, and then subsequently the attractions and activities, right, under the umbrella of experience. Have you actually looked at our app?
I'm happy to say on camera right now that yes, I have used that app before, and it is in my phone right now.
Fantastic.
You definitely used it. You're a traveler yourself.
Yeah, I was visiting Gombak the other day, so I had to download it. I haven't had the chance to travel with the app, but obviously I've downloaded it to take a look at it.
Yes, fantastic. So there are a lot of variety of products and services, right, in the app itself. So really, the consumer can just pick up the app and look at the types of products and services available, right? So we provide end-to-end user experience, right? And TRAVELOKA has been downloaded 100 million times, right? With a 40 million monthly active users.
Nice.
Right? So it's a huge amount in terms, huge numbers, right, in terms of consumer using the app. And this definitely benefits also the industry players, right? So the more products and services that we have on TRAVELOKA, the more convenient it is for our consumer as a super app.
Yes, you mentioned that term, super app. Actually, we deal with super apps most of our lives, and not most of our lives, especially with the advent of technology.
Yeah, currently, yes.
E-hailing services, food delivery service, online shopping, those are really super apps for those. Maybe you can give us an idea about what is an app And what's the difference between an app and a super app? And why does Traveloka need a super app?
Okay, so as we said, technology has actually moved throughout the years, and it really migrated into the technology has really advanced after the pandemic. So Traveloka first started off, as I said, as a meta search, right, and then it was an online aggregator, travel aggregator, and then we moved from that into a super app, right? So really, to put it simple terms of what super app is really an app that clubs a variety of products and services, right? And then it makes it easy for our consumer to actually book and search for their products and services, right?
Yeah,
So
it's more of a consolidation.
The consolidation, right? And also it makes it super, right? So what makes it super, right? An app such as Traveloka is when it has the ability to knit all the products and services, right? And makes it addictively easy for our consumers to use. Right?
I love that term. you know why is it addictively easy? Because again, nowadays everything is literally at the end of your fingertips, and
So easy.
And it's so easy.
Yes.
Anything that you want, and not just traveling. I mean, like, you know, everything else when we talk about, you know, when it comes to apps and the usage of it, and one thing that a lot of people hate out there is that when they have to go to multiple sites, they have to go to multiple apps in getting the same result. But with the super app as well, I need super, so you can actually literally just key in your basic information, and there you have it. That's it.
Yes, correct. And you rightly said it true. You know, the unique selling point of Traveloka app is really at the one of the unique selling point is the flights, right? Whereby the consumers are able to actually search for a flight. Say for example, you want to go to Langkawi, right? I can go to Langkawi using Malaysia Airlines, right? And you can look at it and say, okay, maybe, you know, my budget is about, say, 200 ringgit, you know, to Langkawi. And you can search that, right? And also, depending on the time, the convenience of the time, say maybe you want to go at 10 o'clock in the morning. Usually, it's in the morning, right? And then when you return, right, you don't necessarily need to return on, say, Malaysia Airlines. You can decide to say, okay, I'll come back with Malindo Airlines, because Malindo Airlines timings are probably more suitable for us, and probably in terms of budget as well and price, right?
It's more flexible.
It's flexible, right? So you can pick and choose, right? And once you arrive at, say, Langkawi, then you probably want to look at the hotels that are available for you, right? And then you might want to also look at tours and attractions, you know, and activities that you want to do when you are actually at the destination. And if you want to have, like, you know, do your COVID-19 test, you're also able to do so by using Traveloka.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Right?
Wow.
That is amazing. That is cool.
Talk
Right.
about adapting to current situations, because I mean, like, that's what we have experienced. I mean, like, looking at the fact that you guys are definitely into the tourism industry, the last 2.5 years must have been very, very difficult in regards of sustaining as well as trying to be as active as you can, due to the fact that, you know, the doors were closed, people could not go out. Your industry literally came down to almost zero.
You're right, if I may interject.
please.
I remember during the pandemic, I had to go to Johor Bahru for work. And apparently, most people that visit Johor Bahru are Singaporeans. And Johor Bahru was a barren city because no one was there. It was sad. It's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
Because I love Johor Bahru, I love its city, and I love it being full of people, you know. And I didn't know they were Singaporeans. Yeah, going back to your questions, it was horrible.
What I'm interesting, what I actually wanted to ask exactly Nabil's point is that before it was so difficult, it was tough. How did you guys adapt, like you said, because the fact that you had to, you know, change it up a bit by offering services pertaining to the current situation.
Yep.
What are other things that you had to change, or should I say adapt, in order to maintain relevant throughout?
Okay, it's a very good question, right? So I think the pandemic has impacted everyone, right?
Yeah, sure.
Not just the travel and tourism industry. It has certainly impacted us a lot, right, in the past 2 years where everybody could not travel. But we were able to adapt. So what we did was to really communicate with our industry partners, right, to see how we can actually support the industry partners during that pandemic period. We also continue to engage with the state governments and federal governments to see how we could also facilitate in the pandemic times and also the recovery of tourism. So during the 2 years that we were in pandemic, we, the medical officers and frontliners were really helping Malaysians, right, to survive. And so we spoke to the Malaysian Health Travel Council and together with the Malaysian Medical Association to see how we can support them. And we then also spoke to our hotel partners and our partners that we have on our web to also see how we can support them. So what Traveloka then subsequently did was to provide assistance in giving good accommodation, right, and cheap accommodation to our medical frontliners with the help of our industry partners as well. So our industry partners provide us a certain amount of discounts, right, and Traveloka then assisted by providing additional discounts for our medical frontliners, right. So that's one thing that we did during the pandemic. We also, during the borders opening, domestic borders opening to Langkawi, we also collaborated with Tourism Malaysia, right, in driving the tourism economy into Langkawi, and it was really a successful collaboration that we had with Tourism Malaysia.
Yeah, some of these travel operators, that's their bread and butter.
Yes.
And it's really difficult to imagine how did they had to go through the 2 years because they didn't have work. But that's on your side, Angelica, that's on Traveloka's side. I wonder, has the pandemic affected the trends of the travelers?
Oh yes, most definitely, right.
I know one. You have to wear mask lah if you go. That one I know. That's the change that I know. Yeah.
That's for sure. So I think the change that has happened during the pandemic was that we see people now travel more to see their family and friends, right? To reconnect with your loved ones.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Right?
Hey.
So it's really nice, and people now are more focused on sustainability, right, and as well as safety and wellness. I think, all of us, right, one way or another during the pandemic, we probably lost a loved one, right, or close family members and relatives and friends, right. So now when people start to travel, they are looking for a destination with fresh air, right?
Exactly.
Clean
It's all about
environment,
just
clean
getting that
room.
different perspective in life.
Exactly.
So, all right. Unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I do want to give you a few more seconds. Just speak to the camera. Just tell people where can they find you online. How do they get this super app?
Yes, so you can go on traveloka.com, right, and look for us, and please feel free to play around with the app, right, because really there are hundreds and millions of products and services to actually use and book through our app.
Okay, thank you so much, Angelica Jan,
Thank you very much.
the country manager of Traveloka Malaysia. We'll definitely get extra vouchers after the
I'm going to ask if you have any discounts.